for more on this, we're joined by Ebong Eka, certified public accountant and author of Start Me Up, No Business Plan, and Jennifer Streaks, financial columnist for the Motley Fool and Black Enterprise. Both of you, welcome back to BizAsiaAmerica. I want to get your thoughts on this, this call to action, this year of action. A lot of talk about that, but there's also a lot of skepticism. What's going on here?
I thought that what he rolled out yesterday was just a great plan. It showed an ambitious agenda to get Americans back to work, but also saving money, proving that he doesn't intend to be a lame duck president. I think it's a great direction to go into.
Well, one way to do that, for him not to be a lame duck president, was for him to issue a bunch of executive orders. That goes against what this country was founded on. I understand any president can come in and use executive order power in order to get agendas through, but it's the will of the people in voting through Congress that makes it actually happen into law.
Okay, minimum wage being discussed. Obviously, this is a very hot topic in the country. The Republicans seemingly not for it. The Democrats for it. Although I think there is some middle ground here. Is there going to be a compromise this year on that particular issue, Ebong?
There most likely will be, but the reality is for the minimum wage, it's for people who are lower level jobs. It's not that you don't build wealth with minimum wage. Working at McDonald's or any of the other places, you don't make money. You can't live anywhere living on minimum wage. So the whole goal is to use that as a stepping stone to go to another level, i.e. through education. So yeah, I think they will get a minimum wage amount compromise, but it's not the be-all, end-all, nor is it really as important to building the economy.
Oh, I totally disagree, not to be disrespectful, but I think that I agree with what he said, in that you shouldn't be working full-time in this country and still be at the poverty line. I think if you go to work every day and you put in a full day's work, you should be able to have the basics, and I think that's what he wants to do for America, and I applaud that.
That's socialism. That's not what America's founded on.
It's not founded on being broke either and going to work every day and not being able to feed your family.
One thing that both sides of the aisle actually agreed upon when they actually clapped at the same time was when we talked about tax reforms and getting rid of some of the corporate tax loopholes that were in place. Were you happy to hear about that, and do you think it's perhaps realistic that there'll be action taken? Because we've heard this song before.
We have heard the song before, but I think now everyone knows there has to be a plan, there has to be a call to action, there has to actually be work that's done in this area. For too long, corporations have gotten away with not putting in their fair share, and the president is trying to highlight that and call them to task on it. Everyone has to pull together for this to work.
The ideas of loopholes and fair share actually really make me cringe, because the reality is with corporations and businesses, they're the ones who are responsible for employing people, and those people go out and spend money. But secondly, Romney had a great plan when he talked about lowering the corporate tax rate to about 25% and removing some of the, I hate the word loopholes, but some of the deductions that people were allowed to have. Now, you're never going to see the mortgage interest deduction being removed, because that's going to affect a lot more people across the board. And people in Congress care about their jobs, especially if you're a congressman for 2 years. They don't want to get voted out.
All right. Here's something both of you guys can commiserate over. 71% of the people polled on an NBC Wall Street Journal poll say they're not satisfied with the U.S. economy. I can go on and on. The statistics show that the average American is fed up with Congress. They're fed up with the economy. It's almost like they're in this semi-depression mode, and I can't understand why, because the economy has gotten better. The statistics actually prove that the economy is getting better. There's more jobs being created, all the above, but somehow there's this very negative mood. Is it the media's fault? Is it a Democrat's fault, the Republicans' fault? Whose fault is it?
It's every day. It's living every day. Even if you have people telling you the economy is improved, if you're not feeling that, if your paycheck isn't showing that, if your wallet isn't showing that, if your refrigerator isn't showing that, you don't feel that. Americans are still hurting. You hear that the unemployment rate is coming down, but that's because so many people have stopped looking for work. What does that tell you about the mindset?
When you continue to hear people, especially in the media and other places, continue talking about how bad the economy is, and the metrics of the economy are great. Things are starting to improve, whether it's corporations doing really well with record profits, but going down to Main Street's level, they don't understand that. They don't care about that. They don't care that GE or anybody else is making money. To them, did I make an extra $1 this week? They did not. But again, if you're not making an extra $1, we live in a merit-based economy, a merit-based, service-based society. If you're not providing additional value, you're not going to get extra money.
All right. Last word from both of you. What will the president accomplish this year? Jennifer?
I think you're going to see a change in the minimum wage. I love the fact, a point that he made, that there are now 0 Americans that can be denied insurance because of pre-existing conditions. I think that's important. I think it's also...
Took us 5 minutes for you not to mention that, by the way.
I mean, that's a really huge deal. And just the fact that he is saying, look, I'm not finished yet. And we are still out here trying to get Americans back to work and trying to get Americans to save money. And I think
Let's be
wonderful.
honest. Do you think the president is frustrated?
Oh, I'm sure. When you say that, now I'm going to use an executive order. I'm going to bypass Congress because you are unwilling to work with me. We've seen this. The government shutdown shows this. They were willing to let the government shut down, then to come to some sort of compromise.
Jennifer has a good point. The GOP hasn't exactly been friendly to the president. He's left with very few choices.
Exactly. Well, they haven't got their act together, and it's their fault for that. But I think...
You mean the GOP?
The GOP,
Republicans,
yeah.
right?
The Republicans have made a huge mistake in terms of it, and they think someone like Ted Cruz is going to be the saving grace. In reality, it's not going to be, especially as a conservative.
I'm going to give you a chance to help the Republican Party. What do they need to do to get their act together?
They need to focus on the immigration bill, and here's why. Because last election with Romney, a large majority of what he lost was a Hispanic or Latino vote. Hitting the immigration bill is going to be one of the biggest things that actually not only helps the economy in terms of the amount of jobs that we can create, but it's also going to appeal to a certain base that's been missing from the GOP for a long time. George Bush got about 19 to 20% of the Latino vote. Romney had even less than that. And he's not going to win. So the next GOP candidate is not going to win without having an immigration bill under his or her belt.
Do we get an immigration bill this year passed by both sides?
No. I think we get a lot of talk about it.
But you want one.
Yeah, you want one,
There
definitely.
will be. You got Rubio on the side. Boehner's going to bring everybody else he needs to the middle in order to get this passed through. You have to. You got people like Zuckerberg who's putting in money, who's actually lobbying a lot. I think it's going to be a huge thing.
I still can't believe you brought up the Obamacare. But Jennifer Streaks, Ebong Eka, always good to have both of you guys on. Lots of fire. Thank you very much.